Now I want to talk about your knowledge and your belief on this. You're a smart person, right?
How am I supposed to answer that?
Well, let's go through your resume. You went to Brandeis University, right?
I did.
You graduated magna cum laude.
I did.
If you could explain to the jury what that means.
It means I studied a lot and got good grades.
All right. It means, and to speak, I'm from the Northeast. My Boston accent may give it away. It means you're wicked smart, right?
That's very
You had a high
nice of you.
GPA, a very high GPA.
I work hard.
You also went and you got a master's degree from the University of Cambridge.
I did.
You were a Gates Scholar.
I was.
You then go to the University of Miami School of Law, which is a top-tier law school, Tier 1, right?
Okay.
Right? We're talking about your level of intelligence. You went to the University of Miami Law School, right?
I did, yes.
You also clerked at the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals, right?
I did.
Now, to get a clerkship out of law school, it's a very difficult thing to do, right?
It's challenging.
You have to have top grades. You have to go through a rigorous selection process, right?
Yes.
You then become a professor at the Florida State University College of Law, right?
Yes.
You're also a published author, right?
Now you're just embarrassing me.
This case everywhere. You'd agree with me on that, right?
I've been advised by my lawyer not to read it.
All right. Now, we're not talking about reading stuff. There's podcasts,
Also not to listen.
TV shows,
Also not to watch.
articles.
Don't read.
And so you've made the decision. Now, you're a lawyer yourself too, right?
I am.
And you made the decision, I'm not going to look at any of this stuff.
Correct.
I don't want to know what happened to the father of my 2 children.
Not I don't want to know what happened.
How can you say you love those boys if you don't care who killed the father that they loved?
You also have a separate obligation as an attorney to tell the truth, right?
Of course.
Okay.
I don't believe that I did.
You did not.
I don't remember doing that, no.
No further questions.
I don't remember exactly the timeline of that.
Okay, thank you.
Lawyers, yeah.
I honestly don't remember.
What if I told you that intelligence isn't always a gift? That sometimes being the smartest person in the room doesn't mean you're telling the truth. It might just mean you're better at performing it. What if I told you that in one of the most twisted murder-for-hire conspiracies in American legal history, the person who had everything to gain walks free while 5 others serve life sentences? What if the most dangerous person in this story isn't the one who pulled the trigger, but the one who knew exactly what questions would be asked and spent years preparing the perfect answers? In a case where 5 people have already been convicted of plotting a professor's execution-style elimination in his own driveway, one woman remains untouched. Not because she's innocent, but because she might be too intelligent to catch. Or so it seems. This is the story of Wendi Adelson, the woman prosecutors call an unindicted co-conspirator in one of the most calculated acts of violence in Florida history. A woman whose words sound perfect, whose emotions arrive precisely on time, and whose family is now serving life sentences while she walks free. A woman who, according to her own mother's text messages, was protected for years. A woman whose brother joked about hiring a hitman, and then allegedly did exactly that. Before we go deeper into this chilling case, I need you to do something. If you're drawn to stories that don't just tell you what happened, but make you question how truth hides in plain sight, hit that subscribe button right now. Because at Dark Trail Files, we don't just cover cases, we examine the psychology behind them. We look at what people say, when they say it, and why their answers sometimes raise more questions than they answer. We analyze the moments when composure cracks, when alibis feel too perfect, when grief arrives exactly when it's needed. This channel is for people who want more than headlines, who want to understand the human mind under pressure, who want to see beyond the performance to what's really happening beneath the surface. New episodes drop every week, and trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. The cases we investigate will change how you listen to people, how you evaluate truth, how you recognize when someone is telling you what happened versus telling you what they need you to believe. So subscribe now, turn on notifications, and let's examine a case where being smart might be the most dangerous weapon of all. July 18th, 2014. Tallahassee, Florida. A quiet afternoon in the Benton Hills neighborhood, where professors and families live in tree-lined streets that promise safety and normalcy. Dan Markel, a 41-year-old Harvard-educated law professor at Florida State University, pulls into his garage after dropping his 2 young sons at daycare. It's a routine he's done countless times. A mundane moment in what should have been an ordinary day. He's a respected legal scholar who specializes in criminal punishment theory, the irony of which would become devastating. A devoted father who fought fiercely for time with his boys. A man colleagues describe as brilliant, passionate, and kind. Someone who believed in justice, in fairness, in the law. Someone who never imagined that the system he spent his career studying would fail to protect him from the people he once called family. What happened next would shatter this quiet community forever. Listen to the moment everything changed. Listen to the panic, the confusion, the desperate attempt to save a life that was already slipping away.
911, what's the address of your emergency case then? Okay, tell me exactly what happened.
We heard him looked in, the garage door was up, and I thought the gentleman was backing out, and I went back to my house, but he never backed out, and I came back over, and his driver's side window is shattered, and he's battered and can't answer. He's inside. I don't know if somebody tried to shoot him or if he shot himself or what. I don't know. He didn't send an ambulance in a hurry. An EMT. He's still alive. He's moving.
Okay, what's going on with him?
I don't know. The driver's side window is all bashed in, and he's got blood all over his head. He's not responding to me. I think you need to hurry.
Yeah, I'm going to get him on the way to you. I just want to ask you a few questions, okay?
Go ahead, but send them as you're asking.
Yes, sir. They're already on the way, okay? Are you with him now?
Very good. I'm standing right outside the garage door.
Can you tell me how old he is?
I don't know. He looks like maybe 35 or 40.
Hang on 1 second for me, okay?
Okay.
All right, sir. I apologize about that. What was how old is the patient again? I'm sorry.
I can't tell. He looks maybe 35 or 40. I don't know.
Okay. And is he awake?
He's just moving his head around, but he's not responding. I've called his name, asked what's going on, or not call his name, but ask him what's happening. He's not responding to that, but his head's kind of rolling around.
Okay. Is he conscious?
Well, I can't tell.
Okay. Is he breathing?
I can't tell that. I'm assuming he's breathing if he's moving his head around.
Did you ever hear him talk or anything?
No.
Okay. You said he's sitting in the car, right?
Correct, in the driver's seat.
Okay. Where exactly is he? In the driver's seat? You know.
In the driver's seat.
Is he in the garage or?
In the garage.
Okay. Can you direct the emergency crews to him, sir?
Sure.
Okay. All right, I'm sending the paramedics to help you now. Just stay on the line. I'll tell you exactly what to do next.
Okay.
If it's safe to do so, see if he is conscious and breathing or moving at all, okay?
It's not safe for me to do. I don't want to put my hand in here.
Okay. Well, help's on the way.
Okay.
All right.
I'll be standing by. And I've heard about break-ins in the area, and so I decided to walk over and take a look. And the garage door was up and asked him what was happening. And then I saw the window was shattered, and he's got blood. I'm going to be over here waiting for the EMT, honey. Okay, go ahead, but just tell the kids to hold on inside. They're okay. So tell them I'm out here.
All right, just stay on the line with me for now, okay, sir?
Okay,
I got them on the way to you.
Very good. I'm standing at the street, so if I see him coming down the street, I can direct him right in.
So he won't respond to you at all?
Not to me.
Holler at him or anything?
Yeah, he didn't respond, but his head kind of moving around.
Okay.
But I've walked away from the car right now. I'm standing at the street, so.
And he's?
No.
Okay.
He's inside. The window's shattered. The garage door was up.
Okay.
Where is the vehicle dispatched from?
I'm not sure. Give me a second. I'll try to see where they are, okay? Is he still moving around?
I don't know. I'm standing at the street now trying to wait for your vehicle. Did you say you were checking on where it was?
Yes, sir.
Or where it's coming from?
Mm-hmm.
Where is it coming from?
I'm checking.
Okay.
Got several people on the way. Looks like one person's coming from McClay Road.
Okay, well, it may take them a while to get here then. We're close to the hospital, so...
So you're saying his head is bloody now?
Yeah, it's been bloody. I mean, it's... The window shattered. I don't know if he's tried to shoot himself. I don't know what the situation is.
And it's the driver's side window, correct?
That's correct. He's still moving around, so he's alive.
Okay. Looks like I should have an officer coming up the roadway.
Okay, well, we need EMT.
Well, the officer's going to be there first. They're not going to come until we figure out what's going on, but they're on the way as well, okay?
He better be if this guy's got a shot living.
Yes, sir. They're on the way as well, okay?
Yeah, it looks like could be the officer now.
Is he there?
Yeah, he's just coming up right now.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and let you go, sir, okay?
Okay, very good.
Thank you.
Right.
2 shots to the head, fired through his car window as he sat in his own garage, in his own home, in a neighborhood where this kind of violence simply didn't happen. Dan Markel died the next day at Tallahassee Memorial Hospital, leaving behind 2 sons, ages 3 and 5, who would grow up without their father, who would have their last name changed, who would be kept from their paternal grandparents for 6 years, who would become, in many ways, the silent victims of a conspiracy that valued custody over conscience. The question wasn't just who pulled the trigger. Any investigation can identify a shooter. The real question was who won and gone, and why. What could drive someone to plan, finance, and execute the elimination of a law professor, a father, a scholar who had harmed no one? The answer, according to investigators, lies in a divorce that ended 2 years earlier, a custody battle that never stopped, and a family that prosecutors say would do anything, pay any price, cross any line, destroy any life to win. Dan Markel had been married to Wendi Adelson, a clinical law professor and child advocate also teaching at Florida State. The irony wasn't lost on anyone. A child advocate who would later be accused of orchestrating events that left 2 children fatherless. They met on a Jewish dating site in 2005, a modern love story that seemed destined for success. 2 brilliant legal minds. Shared faith. Shared ambitions. They married in 2006, and for a while, it seemed perfect. But beneath the surface, cracks were forming. According to court documents and testimony, Donna Adelson, Wendy's mother, was more than just a typical mother-in-law. She was described by prosecutors as extremely controlling, someone who had very strong opinions about all decisions in Wendy's life. Whether it was career choices, relationships, or even purchasing a home, Donna's influence was pervasive. And she never approved of Dan. She never accepted Tallahassee. She never stopped wanting her daughter and grandchildren in South Florida, close to the family, under her control. By 2012, the marriage was over. What followed wasn't just a divorce. It was a war over geography, over control, over who would get to shape these children's lives. Wendy wanted to relocate to South Florida, to be near her family. Her parents, Donna and Harvey Adelson, ran a successful dental practice in the Miami area called the Adelson Institute. Her brother, Charlie Adelson, was the lead periodontist. They were wealthy, with the kind of money that makes people believe they can solve any problem. Connected, with the kind of influence that makes people believe rules don't apply to them. And according to prosecutors, utterly controlling, the kind of family that couldn't accept being told no. But Dan Markel said no. He loved his sons. He wanted to be an active, present father. He wasn't going to let them be moved hundreds of miles away. And the court agreed with him. In 2013, after a bitter custody fight, a judge granted them 50-50 custody and permanently barred Wendy from moving the children away from Tallahassee. For Dan, it was about protecting his relationship with his sons, ensuring they grew up knowing both parents equally. For the Adelson family, according to prosecutors, it was an unforgivable obstacle, an insult, a problem that needed to be solved by any means necessary. The tension escalated. Just months before his demise, Dan filed a motion to restrict Donna Adelson's unsupervised visits with the children. In the motion, he detailed disturbing claims. He said the children reported that their grandmother made disparaging remarks about him. That she told them, quote, "Grandma says you're stupid. She says you're trying to take her sunshines away from her. Grandma says she hates you." These weren't casual complaints. This was a father trying to protect his children from being weaponized in a family war. That motion was never resolved. Dan was eliminated before it could be heard in court. Convenient timing, prosecutors would later argue. Suspiciously convenient. But someone saw what happened that day. Someone who had no reason to lie, no family to protect, just the truth.
Geiger, please raise your right hand to be sworn, sir. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth?
Yes.
You may take your seat. Please speak loudly and clearly for the jurors. You may examine your right.
Yes, sir. Perfect. Thank you. Please say your name and spell your name.
My name is James Geiger, Geiger.
Sir, where do you live?
I live in Tallahassee.
How long have you lived at that residence?
It's getting pretty close to 50 years now, I think 48 or 49.
All right. I want to take you back to July 18th of 2024. Now I've got an ad on me. Do you recall something unusual that happened that day? I'm sorry, I said 2024. 2014, sir. You know what case we're here about. Do you remember what happened on that date?
Yes, I do.
All right. Could you please tell our jurors how something unusual first got your attention?
It was a Friday morning, about 10:30. My wife and I were sitting in our living room looking out towards Trescott Drive, out to the street. And as we were sitting there, we were doing something with our iPads, and we heard a noise, a popping, loud sound, bang sound, and we immediately got up and walked to the front. We have a big picture window. Walked up to see if we could determine what had happened and where it had come from. We weren't sure it was to the right or to the left. And,
all right, let me pause you right there and show you a couple photographs that I have as marked as states 1, 2, and 3.
Okay.
Do you recognize these photographs, sir?
Yes, I do.
Are these fair and accurate photographs of your residence at that time, as well as the view from the window you've described?
Yes, it's true.
Judge, at this time I'd ask to admit 1 through 3 and publish.
Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
States 1 through 3 are admitted.
If we could publish states 1, please. All right, sir, so if you could just explain, give me that pointer, please, what we're looking at in this photo, and I've got a pointer here, if that's of any assistance to you. Push the middle button, you get a red dot. You don't have to use it. Oh, if you are going to use it, though, use it on the big screen, please, sir. All right, so just describe what we're looking at in this photo, states 1.
This is taken from Trescott Drive. The house on the right is my house, and the house on the left was Danny's house.
Okay, and the bay window that you've described, is that what is pictured in this portion of the photo right here? Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's correct.
Publish states 2, please. Sir, is this the view from that window?
Yes.
All right.
This is what I saw as I looked out.
Okay, and the driveway that we can see there on the right side of the window, is that Dan Markel's driveway?
Yes, it is.
All right, so you've described that something got your attention. Can we have states 3, please?
Well, as I mentioned, I wasn't sure where the noise had come from, and I looked to the left and to the right, and as I looked to the right, there was a car that was rapidly backing out of the driveway and immediately headed down in that direction towards Benton Road. It caught my attention because it seemed to be going so fast. And I noticed what it looked like, and that caught my attention, although quite frankly it was out of the corner of my eye. It appeared to be a Prius, a light-colored Prius, maybe silver or white.
Okay. So if something got your attention, what was that?
Well, that was what got my attention, and then...
Was the vehicle itself?
Excuse me?
Was the vehicle itself, or some noise preceded you seeing the vehicle?
Well, initially we had heard this loud noise, which we weren't exactly sure it was. It could have been a gunshot, we weren't sure. And then when I saw the car back out, that prompted me then to walk next door. There had been in the neighborhood a few break-ins, burglaries, and my first thought was that somebody was trying to break into the Markel house. And so I went out the front door and walked across over to Danny's house to see if anything had been damaged, maybe tried to be broken into the garage or something.
Yes, sir. When you looked out, you said you saw the car back out and then exit toward Benton Road. Would that be going this direction to the right of the photograph or toward the left of the photograph?
It would be towards the right.
Okay, so out this way. And you said you walked over there just to sort of look around, make sure everything was okay. What did you see?
As I approached his garage, I noticed that the garage door was open, his car was inside, and the motor was running. And so I thought then, well, I guess so much for a burglary. I don't think that's happened if Danny's there. So I turned around and walked back to my house.
Okay. What happened next?
After that, I can't tell you why, but I just stood at my front window and looked out and waited for a few minutes, maybe 3 or 4, up to 5. And for some reason, it just didn't quite seem right. Danny hadn't backed out, and I thought by this time he should have backed out of his driveway, and he didn't. And so I said to my wife, I think something just seems wrong. I'm going to walk back over. And so I did that.
All right. And what did you see when you got over there?
Excuse me?
What did you see when you got over there the second time?
Well, when I went back the second time, I noticed that the garage door was still up, the car was still running, and this time I thought, maybe I better walk on into the garage. He's probably in the driver's seat. He's probably on a cell phone talking, but I just wanted to make sure everything was okay.
Yes, sir.
So I walked into the actual driveway then, and I saw that the window, the driver's side window, had been shattered, and I stepped on glass at that same time. As I looked inside, I saw a bloody head, and the head was slowly moving back and forth, rolling back and forth, left to right. And I hollered immediately, "Danny, what happened?" And I didn't get any response other than the head rolling, and so I hollered again, Danny, what's happened?" Still nothing. And at that point, I knew that I had to get the emergency medical team there as quickly as I could. I reached into my pocket to pull out my cell phone, which is where I normally keep it, and it wasn't there, and I thought, gee, I've left it back on the couch at the house. And so I quickly dashed back to the house, got the phone, and called 911.
How many minutes do you estimate elapsed between the time you saw the Prius backing out, or really I should say the time you heard the loud bang, to the time that you were able to reach 911?
Less than 10 minutes, more than 5 minutes, somewhere in there, I would say.
approach and show you what I've marked as State's Exhibits 4, and then I also have 6 and 7. This is number 4, and I'll draw your attention to some initials on number 4, and then also 6 and 7.
Mm-hmm.
Do you recognize these photos?
Yes, I do.
All right, Judge, at this time I'd ask to move into evidence 6 and 7.
Any objection?
No objection.
States 6 and 7 are admitted.
Publish State 6, please.
You may.
Sir, is this how the vehicle was positioned when you went over there and found Mr. Markel so badly injured?
Yes, that looks correct.
Publish State 7, please. Was the doors to the vehicle are open in this photograph? Were they open or closed when you went over?
No, they were all closed.
Okay, closed, and the only window that was damaged was that the driver's side window?
That's the only one I saw. That's if there were some others, I didn't look at any other windows. I just simply saw the driver's side that was completely shattered.
All right, yes, sir. And State's Exhibit 4, is this consistent with the type of vehicle that you observed in the driveway backing out that day?
Yes, it was, although I didn't quite see that angle.
Okay. Judge, at this time I'd ask to introduce States 4.
Objection to States 4.
No objection.
Admitted at this time.
All right, and you described it as a light-colored Prius. You weren't exactly sure of the color, maybe white, maybe silver, right?
Yeah, silver came to mind first, I guess, but certainly a light-colored vehicle.
I'm going to approach and show you State's Exhibit 5. Recognize States 5?
Yes,
Is that Mr. Markel?
yes, it is.
All right, may I introduce States 5, Your Honor?
No objection. No, sir.
States 5 is admitted.
Publishing States 5. What did you know about Mr. Markel?
Well, this occurred in 2014, and Danny and Wendi were newlyweds and had moved in about 5 years earlier than that. They moved next door. We were not particularly close to either one. We would see them occasionally out on the street. The memorable thing, and the other neighbors would tell you, is that when they first moved in, they had a housewarming event, and they invited all the neighbors in, and we attended it. That was our first time to see them and visit them. They seemed like a nice young couple, and but after that, we weren't particularly close.
Did they have a couple little children living there?
Well, when they first moved there, they didn't, but after a year or two, they had a first child, and then later a second child.
All right, and at the time that Mr. Markel was shot, had his wife, Wendi, moved out? Had they separated?
Yeah, we had understood that they were going through a divorce. And Wendi had left, and after that, we rarely saw Danny, and I don't think we ever saw the kids either. But
Were you familiar with Mr. Markel's profession?
yes, I knew that he was an attorney. Both of them were, and they were connected with the FSU Law School, I believe. But I didn't know their exact positions there.
Yes, sir. Publish 4 again, please. Are you able to tell the jurors anything about the occupants of this vehicle on that day?
No, I only saw it just briefly, and to notice what kind of car it was. I couldn't tell you who was inside. The windows were dark as far as I could see. I didn't even know if it was 2-door or 4-door. I just didn't see anything like that.
During the time that you were present at the scene of the shooting, did Mr. Markel ever regain consciousness or ever say anything that you heard?
No, I never heard him say anything. The only notion was that his head kept rolling back and forth during the 911 call, which it took forever to try to get the emergency vehicle there, the emergency medical team. They would occasionally ask if he was still breathing. And I would walk back up into the garage, and his head was moving still. And I said, well, his head's moving. So I assume he's still breathing.
Yes, sir. Have you had an opportunity to review that recorded call that you made to 911 that day?
Yes, I have.
All right. And was it a fair and accurate recording of that call?
Yes.
All right, Judge, at this time I'd ask to move into evidence states 88.
Any objection?
No objection.
States 88 is admitted.
May I publish?
Go ahead.
What's your emergency?
It's right next door at my house, which is 2122 Trescott Drive.
Can you repeat that for verification?
2122 Trescott Drive, T.
Okay, the phone number you're calling from?
I'm calling from 850-212.
Okay, tell me exactly what happened.
We heard a loud bang and a car pulled away from next door. I came over and looked in, the garage door was up, and I thought the gentleman was backing out, and I went back to my house, but he never backed out, and I came back over, and his driver's side window is shattered, and he's battered, and can't answer. He's inside. I don't know if somebody tried to shoot him, or if he shot himself, or what, I don't know.
And it was at this location, correct?
Right next door. I'll give you mine. I don't know his address. It's next door.
Okay.
He didn't send an ambulance in a hurry. EMG. He's still alive. He's moving.
Okay. What's going on with it?
I don't know. The driver's side window is all bashed in. He's inside. The car is running, and he's got blood all over his head. He's not responding to me. That number, by the way, is 2116. 2116.
All right, that's the first few minutes of a 14-minute call. Is that how long it took them to get somebody to you?
Seemed to me a lot longer.
Seemed like 14 hours, didn't it?
Long time.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Cross-examination for Mr. Geiger.
No question, Your Honor.
Mr. Geiger, you may step down, sir. Is he released from his subpoena? Will anyone need to recall him for any purpose?
He's released, Your Honor.
Have a good day, sir.
For 2 years, the case went cold. Investigators had a shooting. They had a victim. They had surveillance footage of a silver Prius in the neighborhood. But they didn't have suspects. The trail seemed to lead nowhere. And for the Markel family, the wait for justice felt endless. Then, in 2016, everything changed. Investigators arrested Sigfredo Garcia and Luis Rivera, 2 men who had no connection to Dan Markel whatsoever. They had never met him, never spoken to him, never had any personal grievance against him. They didn't move in the same circles. They didn't know his work. They didn't care about custody disputes or academic politics. But they had rented a silver Prius. They had driven from South Florida to Tallahassee. They had stalked Dan Markel for days, learning his patterns, his schedule, his routines. And they had executed him in broad daylight, in his own garage, for money. Cold, calculated, professional. Luis Rivera understood the reality of his situation. He was facing life in prison for a crime that could be proven beyond doubt. So he cut a deal. He pled guilty to second-degree taking of life in exchange for testimony. And what he revealed was chilling. This wasn't a random act of violence. This wasn't road rage or a robbery gone wrong. It was a contract, a murder for hire orchestrated by people who knew Dan intimately. People who had detailed information about his life, his car, his schedule. People who had everything to gain from his demise. The connection that broke the case open? Katherine Magbanua, a woman who had 2 children with Sigfredo Garcia. A woman who was also in a personal relationship with Charlie Adelson, Wendy's brother. She was the bridge, the intermediary, the person who connected a wealthy South Florida family to hired killers. And after Dan's elimination, bank records showed something damning. Magbanua began receiving large sums of money from the Adelson family's dental practice. Paychecks for work she didn't do. Money she passed along to Garcia and Rivera. Blood money, disguised as legitimate business expenses. In 2019, Sigfredo Garcia went to trial. The evidence was overwhelming. Phone records, financial transactions, rental car agreements, surveillance footage. Garcia was convicted of first-degree taking of life and conspiracy. The sentence? Life in prison without the possibility of parole. Katherine Magbanua's first trial ended in a hung jury, 10-2 for conviction. But prosecutors weren't giving up. In 2022, she was retried. This time, the jury heard enhanced audio recordings of a conversation between Magbanua and Charlie Adelson at a Miami Beach restaurant. A conversation that took place after an FBI sting operation known as the Bump, where an undercover agent approached Donna Adelson with a newspaper article about Dan's case and $5,000 written on it. The recording was damning. Magbanua was convicted. Life in prison plus 2 consecutive 30-year sentences. But prosecutors weren't done. Because the evidence didn't just point to hired killers and their go-between. It pointed to the people who hired them. The people who paid for it. The people whose lives improved dramatically after Dan Markel was gone. In April 2023, nearly 9 years after Dan's elimination, authorities finally made the move everyone had been waiting for. Charlie Adelson was arrested and charged with first-degree taking of life, conspiracy, and solicitation. His trial in November 2023 became a media sensation. The courtroom was packed. Cameras rolled. And the evidence presented was devastating. Wiretap phone calls between Charlie and his mother, discussing countries without extradition treaties. Recorded conversations between Charlie and Magbanua, where desperation and fear leaked through every word. Financial records showing the flow of money from the Adelson family practice to Magbanua, then to the killers. And testimony from people who painted a picture of a family in panic, scrambling to cover their tracks as investigators closed in. Charlie Adelson was convicted on all counts. First-degree taking of life. Conspiracy to commit such an act. Solicitation. The sentence was unforgiving. Life in prison plus an additional 30 years each for the conspiracy and solicitation convictions. He would die behind bars. And yet, even in his conviction, a pattern emerged. Charlie never implicated his sister, never pointed the finger at Wendi. He protected her, just like prosecutors say he always had. Then came the matriarch, Donna Adelson, the 75-year-old grandmother prosecutors called the architect of the entire plot. The person who allegedly orchestrated everything, who allegedly provided the motive, the money, and the means. In November 2023, just days after her son's conviction, she made a decision that screamed guilt to anyone watching. Donna Adelson was arrested at Miami International Airport, attempting to board a one-way flight to Vietnam, a country with no extradition treaty with the United States. She and her husband Harvey had rushed visas, one-way tickets, no plans to return. Investigators found WhatsApp messages on her phone, asking a Vietnam visa company how quickly she could get approval. The messages showed urgency and desperation. A 90-day visa request. A woman who knew the walls were closing in and was trying to run. Her trial, delayed when her original attorney withdrew due to a conflict of interest on the first day of jury selection in September 2024, finally began in August 2025. And it was there, in that courtroom, that the world got to see the full scope of this family's alleged involvement. Prosecutors presented evidence of Donna's control over the family, her obsession with getting the grandchildren to South Florida, text messages showing her fury at Dan for denying the relocation, financial records showing payments to Magbanua that coincided with the elimination, and most damning of all, testimony from her own children. Her estranged eldest son, Robert Adelson, a physician in New York who wanted nothing to do with the family drama, took the stand. He testified about his mother's controlling nature, about a phone call he had with her 2 days after the hitmen were arrested, where she refused to discuss it, even when he brought it up. Her silence, he suggested, was telling. And then there was Wendi, the daughter, the ex-wife, the woman in the middle of everything. She testified too, granted limited immunity. meaning nothing she said could be used against her in a future prosecution. She insisted, once again, that she knew nothing, that she's innocent, that she's a victim in all of this. The jury didn't buy her mother's claims of innocence. After just 3 hours of deliberation on September 4th, 2025, they returned with guilty verdicts on all counts. First-degree taking of life, conspiracy, solicitation. Donna Adelson was convicted. On October 13th, 2025, she was sentenced to life imprisonment plus 30 years for each additional count, to be served consecutively. At 75 years old, she will die in prison. At her sentencing, Donna did something remarkable. She proclaimed her innocence while also claiming Dan was a, quote, fine and decent man and a caring and loving father. The same man her family allegedly paid $100,000 to have eliminated. The same man she allegedly told her grandsons she hated. Her husband Harvey spoke too, making claims that Dan's parents were lying about being denied access to their grandchildren. Ruth and Phil Markel, Dan's parents, listened in disbelief. They later released a statement calling Harvey's words deeply unfortunate and setting the record straight about 6 years of no contact, followed by limited supervised Zoom calls. 5 people convicted, 11 years from the shooting to the final conviction. And yet, the story isn't over. When Wendi took the stand, everyone in that courtroom knew what was at stake. Her mother's freedom, her family's legacy, her own future. Watch how she enters this space. The space where her mother's freedom hangs in the balance.
Name and spell your name.
Wendi Adelson, Wendiadelson.
Miss Adelson, where are you from?
I'm from Coral Springs, Florida.
And you live in another state now, currently, right?
I do, yes, ma'am.
All right. How are you employed?
I'm an immigration attorney.
How long have you been an attorney?
Since 2006.
And you're here pursuant to a state subpoena, is that correct?
Yes.
And that subpoena confers a type of immunity on you. Do you understand that?
I do.
Okay. Which means that nothing you say here in court pursuant to that subpoena can be used against you at a later time. Do you understand that?
I do.
Okay, but it doesn't necessarily mean you could never be prosecuted. It just means that what you say in court could not be used in any future prosecution. Do you understand that?
Yes.
All right. I want to ask you about your ex-husband, Daniel Markel. Is that a fair and accurate photo of Mr. Markel?
Yes.
When did you meet him?
We met originally online. It must have been the fall of my first year of law school, so 2003.
Okay. And when did you marry Mr. Markel?
We married in February of 2006.
Were you living in Tallahassee at some point as a married couple?
Yes.
When did you move to Tallahassee?
We moved to Tallahassee my final year of law school, so that would have been in the summer of 2005. And we were here from 2005 till 2006. We spent a year at the University of Miami from 2006 to 2007, and then came back to Tallahassee from 2007 until 2014.
All right. And during the time that you were living here in Tallahassee, did you live over on Trescott Drive?
For some of the time that we lived here, yes.
And when your first child was born, were you residing at the Trescott Drive residence at that point?
Yes.
Okay. I think I have a photo of that here. Is that the Trescott Drive residence?
Yes.
And how many children did you have with Mr. Markel?
We have 2 children.
What were their ages at the time of their father's death?
It was 10 days before my older son's 5th birthday, so he was 4 turning 5, and our younger son was 3.5. The boys are 14 months apart.
And did there come a time when you and Mr. Markel separated?
Yes.
When was the separation?
It was in the fall of 2012.
Whose decision was it to separate?
It was mine.
How did your ex take that news?
Well, we talked about it many times before it actually happened, but when the separation became official, he was very upset.
And even though there were problems and issues and discussions, it was a surprise to him when it actually happened, right?
It was.
Okay. And was part of the reason for the separation your differing views on how to raise the kids pursuant to the Jewish faith?
I'd say it was a very small part, but it was a part.
Did you consider your ex to be a religious zealot?
No, I didn't think he was a religious zealot, but I did think he was using religion as a way of controlling me.
Wendi Adelson has testified in every single trial connected to this case. Katherine Magbanua's trial in 2022, Charlie Adelson's trial in 2023, and now her own mother's trial in 2025. Each time, she's been granted derivative use immunity, meaning her testimony can't be used against her in a future prosecution. A legal shield that allows her to speak without consequence. Each time, she's insisted she had nothing to do with Dan's demise, that she knew nothing about any plot, that she's as much a victim as anyone else, that losing the father of her children was devastating. But prosecutors don't buy it. They've named her an unindicted co-conspirator, a designation that carries significant weight. It means they believe she was involved, that they have evidence, but perhaps not enough yet to secure a conviction beyond reasonable doubt. And the evidence they've presented across these 3 trials paints a deeply troubling picture of a woman who may have been at the center of everything. Intelligence is often seen as credibility. Society equates being smart with being trustworthy. But what if it's just camouflage? What if intelligence is being used not to reveal truth, but to construct a believable alternative? Watch how this label becomes both a description and a shield.
Now I want to talk about your knowledge and your belief on this. You're a smart person, right?
How am I supposed to answer that?
Well, let's go through your resume. You went to Brandeis University, right?
I did.
You graduated magna cum laude.
I did.
If you could explain to the jury what that means.
It means I studied a lot and got good grades.
It means, and to speak, I'm from the Northeast. My Boston accent may give it away. It means you're wicked smart, right?
That's very
You had a
nice.
high
Thank you.
GPA, a very high GPA.
I work hard.
You also went and you got a master's degree from the University of Cambridge.
I did.
You were a Gates Scholar.
I was.
You then go to the University of Miami School of Law, which is a top-tier law school, Tier 1, right?
Okay.
Right? We're talking about your level of intelligence. You went to the University of Miami Law School, right?
I did, yes.
You also clerked at the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals, right?
I did.
Now, to get a clerkship out of law school, it's a very difficult thing to do, right?
It's challenging.
You have to have top grades. You have to go through a rigorous selection process, right?
Yes.
You then become a professor at the Florida State University College of Law, right?
Yes.
You're also a published author, right?
Now you're just embarrassing me.
This case everywhere. You'd agree with me on that, right?
I've been advised by my lawyer not to read it.
All right. Now, we're not talking about reading stuff. There's podcasts,
Also not to listen.
TV shows,
Also not to watch.
articles.
Don't read.
And so you've made the decision. Now, you're a lawyer yourself too, right?
I am.
And you made the decision, I'm not going to look at any of this stuff.
Correct.
I don't want to know what happened to the father of my 2 children.
Not I don't want to know what happened.
How can you say you love those boys if you don't care who killed the father that they loved?
You also have a separate obligation as an attorney to tell the truth, right?
Of course.
Okay.
I don't believe that I did.
You did not.
I don't remember doing that, no.
No further questions.
I don't remember exactly the timeline of that.
Okay, thank you.
Lawyers, yeah.
I honestly don't remember.
Start with the alibi. On the day Dan was shot, July 18th, 2014, Wendi had a detailed, almost suspiciously perfect schedule. She was home that morning, waiting for a TV repairman to service her broken television. Her brother Charlie had given her a new television as a, quote, divorce present just before Dan's elimination. How thoughtful, right? But the old TV needed repair, and conveniently, that repair was scheduled by her mother Donna for the exact day of the shooting. So Wendi was home, waiting, creating a verifiable alibi without even trying. Later that day, after the repair, she ran errands, met friends for lunch, went about her day as if nothing unusual was happening, as if, miles away, the father of her children wasn't bleeding out in his garage. She seemed calm, composed, normal. But here's what's strange. Here's what investigators couldn't shake. According to her own testimony during her initial police interview, Wendi made a joke. During that first conversation with law enforcement, mere hours after Dan had been shot in the head, she joked with police that Charlie giving her a TV was, quote, cheaper than hiring a hitman. Read that again. Let it sink in. Her ex-husband has just been shot. She's supposedly in shock, supposedly grieving, supposedly terrified, and she makes a joke about hiring a hitman. Who does that? Who has that kind of dark humor ready to go in the most traumatic moment of their life? Unless, of course, it wasn't a joke at all. Unless it was what psychologists call leakage, when truth slips out disguised as humor. Prosecutors argue this wasn't spontaneous wit. It was a scripted line, a pre-planned deflection. By joking about it immediately, she could later claim she was just being darkly funny, coping with stress. But what if she was actually revealing the truth, hiding it in plain sight, because she knew nobody would take a joke seriously? Lacosse's testimony gets even more damning. Jeff Lacoste dated Wendi in 2013 and 2014, right during the height of her custody battle with Dan. He was there for intimate conversations, late-night talks, the kind of moments when people let their guard down. And what he heard chilled him to his core. He testified that just days before the elimination, days, not weeks or months, Wendi confided in him with a specific preamble. She said, quote, "Can I tell you something in confidence?" That phrase alone is significant. It signals that what's about to be said is secret, sensitive, something that needs to stay between two people. Then she told him, "Last summer, my brother looked into all options to take care of the Dan Markel problem, including hiring a hitman. It would cost about $15,000. Think about every word of that statement. She knew. According to Lacoste, she knew Charlie had explored taking Dan's life. She knew he'd researched costs. She knew it was considered a viable option. And she told someone about it. Not to warn Dan, not to go to police, not to express horror or fear. She told her boyfriend as if sharing a family secret, as if this was just another piece of Adelson family drama. Lacoste testified that he was taken aback by how serious she seemed. This wasn't hypothetical. This wasn't venting frustration. This was specific information delivered with the weight of truth. And when Dan was actually eliminated shortly after, Lacoste realized what he'd been told. He later became a crucial witness for the prosecution. Family loyalty can be beautiful, but can also be blinding. Listen to how Wendi describes her bond with Charlie. And ask yourself if this sounds like a relationship built on love or something else.
I absolutely had a close relationship with my brother.
And how soon after the murder did your lawyer advise you not to talk to your family about it?
In 2016.
Okay, so what about the 2 years in between? Did you talk to him about it then?
I mean, I talked to him about the fact that a murder occurred, but I guess I don't understand the question.
But you never talked to him about the suspicions you raised in the law enforcement interview that your brother might have done it?
No, I did not.
You suspected your brother could have been a part of this, right?
I suspected lots of people could have been a part of it.
But he was one of the people, right?
While I was talking with law enforcement for 6 hours, terrified out of my mind, I offered them every possible idea I could come up with.
Right. And one of the possible ideas was that your brother could have murdered your child's father.
I didn't really believe that was possible.
Was part of the plot for you to be able to have plausible deniability about this?
Absolutely not.
Is it better for both you and your brother if you don't know the details of this?
I don't even understand the question that you're asking me.
When did you first become aware that you might be a suspect in this case?
I mean, as the ex-wife, I assumed I was a suspect from the beginning.
What was your first thought when you were asked if anyone might have murdered Dan Markel for your benefit?
I thought, oh my God, maybe if I hadn't divorced him, he would still be alive. Maybe this is my fault because I complained to the wrong person. Maybe Danny gave a student a bad grade and they came after him. I just was trying to think of who possibly could have wanted to hurt him.
But you didn't say any of that before. I mean, the first thing you said was Charlie, right?
I don't think so.
Page 25 of your interview, line 5 through 15. Do you have any reason to dispute? Page 25, not 5 hours into it. You say Charlie might have done it, right?
Can I see, please?
You may. This is going to be tab 1, page 25.
What I say here is that he would never do it. Right under the highlighted part, I say no, he would never.
Need a copy?
Page 25, line 5 through 15. I mean, my brother, the one, his name is Charlie, the one I'm really close to. He makes a lot of jokes in that taste, and it was a joke he made. He bought the TV for me this morning that got broken, and then I was talking to him about whether it made sense to pay or fix it, or whether I should get a new one. And it was always his joke that, he knew that Danny always treated me badly. And it was always his joke. He said, I looked into hiring a hitman and it was cheaper to get you this TV. So instead I got you this TV. And you do say you don't think he would do it, but can we agree you brought up his name on page 25 of the interview?
I did.
When asked, would you ever ask someone to do something like this? You say not in a million years. When asked, okay, do you think someone would do this for your benefit without asking you? You say no. And when Isom starts to ask you what good does it serve, you say, I mean my brother, the one, his name is Charlie. Isn't that how it went?
This is the transcript, but I think there's also inaccuracies in the transcription.
Oh boy. All right. Do you want the culpable parties held accountable for murdering the father of your children?
Absolutely. I'm grateful they're already in jail.
But not if it's your family.
It's not my family.
I mean, somebody hired them, right?
Not necessarily.
Somebody paid them.
I learned something this morning.
Yeah, me too. You didn't want them held accountable if it was your family members. Didn't you tell law enforcement that?
That's not what I told law enforcement.
What did you tell law enforcement?
I told them that the person who did this should be held responsible and that I had nothing to do with it.
Page 122, lines 7 through 12. If somebody tried to kill my ex-husband, they should be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. The investigator says regardless of who it is, and your answer is, I mean, it would be different if I thought it were my brother.
But I don't think it was my family, is what I said.
Different now, isn't it?
No, it's not different. That's exactly
different
what I
today,
said
isn't
right
it?
here. No, that's not
No
right.
further questions.
Wendi and Charlie were close. Extremely close. Prosecutors argue this wasn't just sibling affection. It was strategic positioning. By emphasizing their bond, Wendi could later claim she was protecting her brother, not participating in a conspiracy. But the cracks show. Text messages between Donna and Wendi, revealed during Donna's trial, tell a darker story. After Charlie's conviction, Donna wrote to Wendi, your brother protected you for years. Now you're not guilty. Your lawyer took very good care of you. In another message, Donna expressed anger that Wendi hadn't called. She wrote, everyone looks to protect you. I bet you've got a lot to think about. These aren't the words of an innocent bystander. These are the words of a mother who believes her daughter knows more than she's saying, and a mother who's furious that she's taking the fall alone. Emotion is supposed to be involuntary, but what happens when it arrives exactly when it's needed? Watch this moment and decide for yourself. Is this grief or is this performance?
Did your ID with you?
I just listened to my voicemail.
What'd you hear?
Who
was your voicemail?
It's from Lacey Carey, who is my real estate agent, or who I had gone with to find a house. She just said she was driving around town and she heard there was a shooting on Trescott.
Yeah. That's what this is about. I'm sorry you had to hear it that way.
I'm sorry, I didn't know if I should.
It's all right. Just leave it there. Is it still on?
It's right there.
Hey, it's Lisa Carey. It is Friday, and I feel like an idiot doing this, but I just heard that there was a shooting over on Trescott, and I promise I'm not trying to be dramatic or even nosy. I don't know, just checking on you, my friend. I hope all is well. I hope your sweet boys are well, and if there's anything you need, let me know. It just ran a chill down my spine when I heard that there was something going on Trescott. All right, 212-3083. Hope all is well, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.
That's all right. You can stop it. Or does it stop automatically?
It's done.
Okay. Do you have your identification with you? So you never took the last name of Markel?
No.
Adelson. Okay. Wendi with an I. Joe. All right. There was a shooting at your home, or your ex-husband's home, at 2116 Trescott. Okay. Your ex-husband, Daniel, all right, has been taken to the hospital. He's not going to survive.
Oh my God.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I have a message for him this morning. What happened?
Well, before we get into everything, I have to establish where you were and who you were with and so forth.
Okay.
Okay, and then once we've established all that, I can give you more details.
Okay.
Do you understand why I wanted you to come here before I discuss this?
Oh my God. I'm sorry.
That's okay. No, you have nothing to be sorry about.
I just don't understand. How did this really happen?
Can you let me get over this hump, okay? Can we do that first? All right. Can you tell me what time you left your house this morning?
Yeah, I was there. I didn't leave this morning. I didn't leave until noon.
Okay. And
Oh my God. And I tried to drive up Trescott, and I saw that it was blocked.
It was blocked at some point. I'm not sure what time it was
And I
blocked.
just thought, oh, there's maybe some trees down or something. Because sometimes
Oh, you're saying as you drove down which one of the side roads?
when I'm going to a friend's party tonight, and it's a oh my God, what am I even talking about? I needed to buy, it's a stock the shelf engagement party, and so I went to buy bourbon.
Okay.
So I went to drive from my place up Trescott to get to ABC Liquor, and it was blocked, so I just turned around. I was on the phone at the time. I wasn't paying a lot of attention. So I just turned around and drove up the other way. I just thought, oh, sometimes when I lived there were electrical things that would happen. I left my house around 12:15 because I thought I'll get the bourbon and then I'll get some gas for the car and get super glue for one of the boys' toys. And I was trying to do all I can before meeting my two friends at 1.
Okay, who was at your house this morning?
The only person that was at my house this morning was a guy from Best Buy because my TV was broken and it's under warranty.
Good for you.
Yeah, I figured.
Okay, a guy from Best Buy was at your house to work on your TV?
I have his name and everything at the house if you want it, because the boys broke the TV, so he gave me a choice of fixing it or getting a new one.
What time did he come to the house?
He called me at around 8. He was probably there until around 10.
Okay. Okay. And then and
then after he left, I kept working on a paper, and I emailed the paper to a librarian at school to work on some of the citations.
Okay.
And I don't think I talked to anyone else, but I was just working for an hour or so from the house. I was going to take a shower, but I didn't. I ran out of time. I did laundry. And then I left the house around noon.
To go to the liquor store and the stuff for the party?
Yeah.
Okay, you went down which road you said?
I went down Trescott.
Okay. I
saw a police car there, and I just thought it's blocked, so I just turned around and drove to, I went down the rest of Centerville, went up Benton, took Benton across, went to ABC Liquors, bought the bourbon.
I'm a little confused. You're up on Centerville Road. What's your purpose of driving down Trescott?
It's usually the shortcut to get to Monroe.
To get to Monroe?
I usually take it as a cut through to get to Thomasville or Monroe.
Okay, all right, so
I don't know why I said Monroe. I was thinking Mosaic, Monroe, Thomasville.
Okay, so when you come down into town on Centerville?
I almost always cut through Trescott.
Trescott and just drive by your old house?
Well, I do it as a way of like coming to terms with the divorce, but yeah, sometimes I drive there. If I'm too sad, I drive around.
Okay.
If the kids aren't home and I know they're not home, I feel better about driving by the house. But yeah, it's shorter, and I just usually drive by.
It's shorter than going all the way down to Benton?
All the way down Centerville and around Benton. It's just a shortcut I always took.
Okay, so you turned around and went back to Centerville, I take it?
Yeah.
Down to Benton, and went to the liquor store down there on Thomasville?
Yeah.
The one at Benton Road?
ABC Liquors, it's at, Benton. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, did you make a purchase there?
Yeah.
And that was sometime after 12?
Probably 12:30.
Okay, all right.
And I talked to a guy there because I don't really buy much alcohol, and so they wanted bourbon, and I asked the guy, we had a whole conversation about bourbon and my eyes, like...
Your eyes?
He just said, your eyes are really blue, and...
You have contacts?
I do.
Okay.
But I just remembered it. So I bought the bourbon and got some gas on Thomasville and met my friends at Mosaic.
Which gas station did you go to on Thomasville?
The one that's, I always forget the name, but the one that's close to the cross street. It's right next to the Goodwill.
Okay.
If you're heading north on Thomasville. If you're heading north on Thomasville, it's on your right.
Okay, just past the Goodwill
Just
place?
past the Goodwill. It's close to the intersection there.
Okay, all right, and then from that point, you went straight to the...
Went to Mosaic.
Mosaic restaurant?
And met friends there. I used to have kind of a steady Friday meeting, and I hadn't seen my two friends in a while. And so we had made plans to meet up.
What time did you get to Mosaic?
About 1. I was a little late. We were supposed to meet at 1, and I got there a few minutes after.
Okay. All right. I know it's cold in here. Okay.
I think that's not why I'm
okay. I know it's part of it, but do you know anybody that would have a beef against your ex-husband?
He's
Oh my God.
I hate to ask it now, but I have to do it now. You
I
understand,
understand.
right?
I understand. He had friends. He always meant well, but he would sometimes rub people the wrong way.
Okay.
But not anyone who would do something like this.
Anybody that he owes money to?
No, he owes money to me.
He owes money to you?
But
Okay.
not me.
Okay. All right. All right.
Oh my God, we're poor kids. Oh, I know a lot of people didn't really love him, but I don't know anyone who would do something like this.
Well, we're still trying to determine, what happened and how it happened.
But he wouldn't do this to himself.
Okay.
He was a very positive person.
Okay. No one that you know of or that he's spoken to recently that he's had some type of problem with or that he was concerned about?
No one that he was concerned about. I mean, we've been separated for 2 years, so I don't know,
Right.
If he had something going on, I wouldn't know about it, but, I mean, I had lost my voice earlier this week, and so we had put off this conversation about our son's school and where he was going to go, and he, I know a lot of people didn't love him, but not anyone who would, hate him.
Okay.
He meant well, everyone that knew him.
Okay.
Knows that he means well, but he can be a little argumentative.
Right.
But not, he didn't owe anyone money. He didn't do anything except work and take care of his kids. He wasn't involved in anything bad.
Okay.
I can't believe this is happening.
I know. And he was a professor at the law school, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And your divorce has been 2 years or the total separation, I'm assuming?
Total separation's been 2 years. Our divorce was finalized last summer around this time.
Okay.
He wouldn't do this to himself. He has a girlfriend now.
His
Real grief is messy. It doesn't follow a script. It doesn't wait for convenient moments. But Wendy's emotional displays have a pattern. They appear when pressure mounts, when questions get too specific, when a narrative starts to slip. During her police interrogation the day of the shooting, body cam footage shows her crying. But investigators noted something strange. The tears came and went. They aligned with specific questions. When asked about her relationship with Dan, the emotions surged. When asked about her schedule that day, she was calm, almost robotic. This isn't proof of guilt, but it's a tell. It's what investigators call emotional timing, grief that arrives on cue, like an actor hitting their mark. When you're called to testify against your own mother, you'd expect hesitation, conflict, pain. But watch Wendy's posture, her tone, her control. Does this look like a daughter torn apart, or a witness who's been preparing for this moment?
Good morning. If you can just take your seat for right now, I will swear you in when the jurors re-enter the room. I believe, even though the jurors indicated they did not have to go to the bathroom at this point, if we are once again dealing with the needs of 14 people, they might be in the bathroom, so wait for the knock. believe that we have a few jurors that do need to use the restroom. If anyone needs to stretch their legs or use the bathroom themselves, please take your opportunity now. Once we start with the testimony, again, the door will remain closed if you exit. Go ahead. Oh, before you leave the room, Ms. Fulford, once again, Mrs. Adelson, I'm going to reiterate the instruction that I gave to you last Friday concerning any reactions that you may have to either the testimony or the evidence in the case. I understand this may be a distressing thing for your child to be offering testimony in your trial. However, you are to control your expressions and your emotions. Do you understand those? Everyone can take their break. If you need to step down until it's time to testify, you may do so as well.
There's a difference between answering questions and steering a story. Witnesses respond. Protagonists control. And in every courtroom appearance, Wendi Adelson doesn't just answer. She shapes the narrative. During Donna's trial, prosecutors pressed her on the custody battle, on the emails and texts showing the family's desperation to move the children to South Florida, on the motion Dan filed to restrict Donna's access to the grandchildren. There's a moment in every trial where the tone shifts, where the questions stop being polite and start being pointed. Watch what happens when Wendi is confronted with facts she can't massage away.
It's like my parents have more reason to dislike Danny than almost anyone else. Is that what you said?
That is what I said.
And that's because he hurt you, right?
And I was saying that in the context of talking to law enforcement for hours and hours and trying to help them figure out who might be responsible.
Right. And who did you tell them might be responsible?
Well, I told them many, many people. But are you asking about this particular moment right here?
You told them your family might be responsible.
Or potentially someone to do with a former student or his current girlfriend. I mentioned lots of people that I thought could be responsible.
Okay. And of the lots of people that could have been responsible, your family was one.
Yep.
Because they might have done this thinking it would help you. I mean, that's what happened, right?
I'm sorry, I don't understand the question.
Your family had your ex-husband killed to try to help you, didn't they?
No, that's completely untrue.
When did you learn that Katherine Magbanua was blackmailing your brother for the murder of your ex-husband?
Today.
So he never told you?
No.
You testified in Katherine Magbanua's murder trial last year, didn't you?
I did, yes.
And she was convicted.
She was convicted, yes.
A crime for which she apparently is innocent because she was just a conduit for Sigfredo Garcia. Did you learn that today along with all of us?
Well, I learned that someone made that argument. I don't know whether it's true or not true.
Did your dad get any big gifts for his 70th?
I don't remember.
So there was no big lead up and discussion about some big gift that you were involved in, at least?
I don't remember. I don't remember if I gave him a present. I hope I did.
Do you remember what anybody gave him for that birthday?
I really don't.
Was the murder of Dan Markel your dad's big gift?
I mean, that's, of course not. That's a horrible thing to say.
What about the grandchildren, getting full unfettered access to the grandchildren?
My parents had full unfettered access to their grandchildren always.
You want the culpable parties held accountable for murdering the father of your children?
Absolutely. I'm grateful they're already in jail.
But not if it's your family.
It's not my family.
Somebody hired them, right?
Not necessarily.
Somebody paid them.
I learned something this morning.
Yeah, me too. You didn't want them held accountable if it was your family members. Didn't you tell law enforcement that?
That's not what I told law enforcement.
What did you tell law enforcement?
I told them that the person who did this should be held responsible and that I had nothing to do with it.
Page 122, lines 7 through 12. If somebody tried to kill my ex-husband, they should be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. The investigator says regardless of who it is, and your answer is, I mean, it would be different if I thought it were my brother.
But I don't think it was my family, is what I say.
Different now, isn't it?
No, it's not different. That's exactly
different
what I
today,
said
isn't
right
it?
here. No, that's not
No
right.
further questions.
This wasn't a gentle, direct examination. It felt like a cross. The prosecutor's tone hardened. The questions became surgical. Why did she call Charlie for 18 minutes on the day of the shooting to discuss a TV repair, a repair her mother had set up? Why did she contact Dan multiple times before his demise to confirm his parenting schedule, dates that were already agreed upon? Why did she ask her ex-boyfriend about his travel plans around July 18th? Prosecutors suggested the family may have been trying to frame Lacoste. That Wendi was gathering information, building timelines, creating distance between herself and the act. Her answers were careful, too careful. She denied plotting anything, denied knowing anything. But her explanations often went beyond the question, a classic sign of anxiety disguised as clarity. Families fracture when survival is on the line. And in this moment, Donna's own defense attorney does the unthinkable. Watch what happens when a mother's lawyer suggests her daughter is the one who should be on trial.
I wouldn't say without his influence in any way, but yes, they've grown up without their father.
He's not here to give them advice.
He is not.
He can't come to any of their functions, sports, anything else.
Correct.
They're not eating kosher like they would have with their father.
They are not.
They don't have him at all.
They don't have him in their lives day to day, no.
Because on July the 18th of 2014, he was brutally murdered in his driveway. Isn't that true?
That is true.
And you testified on direct that anybody in your family that had anything to do with it should be held responsible. Isn't that correct?
Yes.
And that includes you, doesn't it?
Anyone who's responsible.
Redirect examination.
When you said you were an actor in someone else's show, whose show was it?
I think I felt like I just wasn't fully present in my own life, that I had always been a real people pleaser. And so there was an aspect of not always being true to myself and wanting to make other people happy.
And one of those people is your mom, right?
Yes.
And that's part of why you kept going with relocation, even when you kind of had some doubts about it, right?
I would say it's part of the reason.
Donna Adelson's defense strategy was risky. Her lawyer didn't just defend her. He pointed the finger at Wendi. He argued that if anyone had motive, knowledge, and opportunity, it was the ex-wife, the woman who stood to gain everything for Dan's death. And he wasn't wrong. Within days of Dan's demise, Wendi moved to South Florida with the children, the very thing the court had forbidden. She changed her last names from Markel to Adelson, claiming it was for their safety. She cut off contact between Dan's parents and their grandsons for 6 full years. Dan's mother, Ruth Markel, has been vocal about this. She says Wendi controls every interaction. Supervised Zoom calls, short visits, no address. Any mail or gifts for the children must go through Wendi's attorney. This is a woman who got exactly what she wanted. And yet, she remains uncharged. Denial can be factual. It can be emotional, or it can be moral outrage. Listen carefully to how Wendi denies involvement, and ask yourself which kind this is.
Were you in any way involved in the plot to kill your ex-husband?
No.
Did you maybe know it was going to happen, but not know the details?
I did not know it was going to happen, and I did not know any details.
Did you provide any information, even unknowingly in hindsight, that you think could have been used to assist the murderers?
I don't think so. I didn't provide any information.
What information do you have regarding your mother's involvement in the plot to kill your ex-husband?
I don't have information.
But you do admit that your brother said he looked into hiring a hitman to kill Dan Markel.
I don't. I admit that my brother made a tasteless joke repeatedly about buying me a TV because it was cheaper than hiring a hitman.
But then someone did hire a hitman who did kill Dan Markel, right?
Yes, that happened.
Was part of the plot to kill your ex for you to have plausible deniability or to know very little about it?
I was not involved in any plot to kill Danny.
Were you shielded from the plot because, I don't know, you couldn't be trusted to keep a secret?
I was not involved in any plot to kill Danny.
Why did you tell investigator Isom in your law enforcement interview that you were worried the police, or you were worried, I guess, in the police car on the way to be interviewed, that you might be considered a suspect?
Because I couldn't think of anything bad going on in his life other than the divorce. And frequently the ex-wife is a suspect.
Were you treated as a suspect?
I was not.
But you mentioned 9 times in your law enforcement interview being a suspect. Didn't you?
I did, yes.
When Wendi was asked point blank if she plotted Dan's demise, her response was dramatic, emphatic, almost theatrical. She didn't just say no, she performed innocence. But the language matters. Notice what she denies. Notice what she doesn't. She denies plotting. She denies wanting harm. But she doesn't address the mountain of circumstantial evidence, the suspicious timing, the convenient alibis, the fact that her entire family is now in prison. Fiction is supposed to be imagination, but sometimes it's a window into what testimony can't reveal. Wendi wrote a book before Dan's demise, and prosecutors believe it tells a very different story than the one she's telling in court.
And is that the only book you've written, or have you written more than one book?
I've only written one book.
What was the book about?
The book was about human trafficking and about the vulnerabilities that lead to trafficking, the problems when it occurs, and basically how to recover from it after.
Where was the book set?
It was set in a fictional town.
What was the name of the fictional town?
Hiawassee Springs.
So Hiawassee. Is it located in the panhandle of Florida?
No, I used to see the name when I was driving from Tallahassee to Orlando, so it's somewhere in between.
And was the place modeled after Tallahassee?
It was definitely somewhere in Florida, but not supposed to be about Tallahassee, no.
Who was the central character in that book?
So there's 3 central characters. One was one of my clients, kind of a composite character from Eastern Europe. One was kind of a composite character of many clients I've represented from Latin America, and one was a public interest lawyer.
And was the public interest lawyer Lily?
Yes.
And is that the character that's sort of based after yourself?
No, really more based after a friend of mine.
And was Hiawassee, Florida, quote, just a small stop on the way back to what we had previously known as civilization? Is that a quote from your book?
That sounds like a quote from my book, yeah.
And who's the husband of Lily, the public interest lawyer?
You want his name in the book?
Yes.
I think it was Josh Stone.
All right, and what was Josh's employment?
Josh was an English professor.
I'm sorry, what was your answer?
Josh was an English professor.
A professor, where did he teach?
It's been a while. I wrote the book over 10 years ago. I don't remember what I named the university in the
North Florida State University?
That sounds right.
NFSU?
NFSU sounds right, yeah.
All right, and in the book, does Lily lament, quote, we moved to this godforsaken place for Josh's career?
Yes, that sounds like a line Lily would say.
All right. When you looked at page 187 of the divorce document on cross, and I'll hand that back to you. This is actually my copy. Just turn back to 187. Do you see the quote that you read previously from that page?
I don't.
Okay. It had to do with, let's see if I can find it, that you were very unhappy in the marriage. I think it's the third paragraph there.
I see that line.
Okay, the wife has been very unhappy in the marriage and files her petition for dissolution of marriage in August 2012. The husband continues to characterize this as abandonment, and then it goes on to say that he had been disparaging you to some of the folks at the law school. Do you remember reading that?
I do.
Was that intended to be the place in this binder where you allege emotional abuse by your husband?
I mean, I think it's emotionally abusive to suggest somebody has mental health issues.
Okay. What is the Prof's blog? You were asked about that on Cross.
Yeah, it was a blog that Danny started with some of his colleagues to kind of promote community in the law professor world.
And who reads the Prof's?
Probably other law professors and people interested in becoming law professors.
Who is on the Crim Prof listserv?
I don't know.
Were you on the listserv for that Prof's blog?
I may have been on the listserv at some point.
Do you remember seeing the post that you were shown on Cross?
I do.
And the post says something about Danny and I are planning to attend a conference that will begin Sunday, July 20th. Is there any other information on what you were shown about Dan's travel plans post-murder other than that?
I'm sorry, can you please repeat the question?
The post says Danny and I guess it's another professor writing this thing. Danny and I are planning to attend a conference that will begin Sunday, July 20th. Is that the type of information that he would typically have on something like the Prof's blog or Facebook?
That sounds right.
Okay, but as far as the date he's leaving, the flight he's on, that kind of stuff, would that typically be on the Prof's blog?
He wouldn't put what flight number he was on, but he would almost always communicate when he was going on a trip.
Okay, so going to a conference that starts July 20th might be an example.
Flying to New York tomorrow would be an example.
Okay. But
not a flight number.
But he didn't put flying to New York tomorrow on this occasion?
No.
You were referenced several times, not on direct examination by the state, but by your brother's attorney on Cross as a co-conspirator. Are you charged in this case?
No.
This isn't your trial, is it?
No.
Is your brother charged with conspiring with you to do a murder?
No.
Is he charged with conspiring with you to plan a murder?
No.
Is he charged with soliciting you to do a murder?
No.
Who is he charged with doing those things with?
I don't think anyone.
Have you had an opportunity to review his indictment in this case?
I have not.
I'll give you an opportunity to take a look at that document to yourself. Who is your brother alleged to have done these crimes with?
Katherine Magbanua.
Were you on the wire in this case, Ms. Adelson?
No.
So when the bump happened, are you familiar with the event I'm referencing as the bump?
I am now.
When law enforcement approached your mother on the street and handed her a piece of paper?
Yes.
Okay, when that occurred, who did your mother call?
I don't know.
Not you, right?
Not me.
Okay. And once your brother found out about the bump, did he call you about it?
No.
Who did he call?
I don't know.
Well, you listened to the calls to authenticate the voices, didn't you?
Just to hear the voices, not to hear the content of the calls.
Okay. And the voices were your brother's voice, right?
But I listened to the calls just to hear who was on them, so I don't know what content they're referencing.
I heard your answer. My question to you now is, your brother's voice was on the calls.
He was on some of the calls I listened to.
Your mother's voice was on the calls.
She was on some of the calls I listened to.
Did you have any secret meetings with your brother post bump that happened in South Florida?
No.
You were asked about Jeffrey Lacasse and the way that your relationship ended. What is OkCupid?
OkCupid is a dating website.
Were you on that dating website?
I was.
Were you on that dating website at the time that you were dating Mr. Lacasse?
No, I wasn't.
And were you speaking, so I guess if you weren't on it, you weren't speaking to multiple men from the website during the time you were dating Mr. Lacasse. And I'll remind you that you provided your phone in this case and it was cell-brighted, downloaded.
Objection, Your Honor. Argument approach.
In 2011, 3 years before Dan's demise, Wendi published a novel called This Is Our Story. It's about a lawyer named Lily who's stuck in a small North Florida town because of her husband's job. Sound familiar? Prosecutors have long drawn parallels between Wendi and Lily. Both lawyers, both trapped, both resentful. Wendi has downplayed this, claiming the character was based on a friend. But the details are too specific, the frustration too raw. At the end of the book, Lily thanks her husband for bringing her to this place, for giving her wings to try something new. But emails and court filings tell a different story. Wendi was desperate to leave Tallahassee. She emailed friends about how critical it was to move south. She told the court she felt stuck. Fiction often reveals what testimony cannot. And this book reads like a psychological blueprint. A woman who feels imprisoned by her husband's choices, searching for a way out. Donna Adelson kept detailed planners. In her 2014 planner, investigators found Dan Markel's vehicle information, the make, the model, the license plate number. Why would Donna have that information 2 years after the divorce? How would she even get it? The answer, prosecutors suggest, is Wendi. She was the only one with access to Dan's current schedule, his routines, his car details. She was the bridge between the family and the target. Then there's the TV. Charlie gave Wendi a new television. Donna arranged for the repair of the old one on the exact day Dan was shot. When he was home, waiting. The perfect alibi. Except it feels too perfect, too convenient. And the 18-minute phone call between Wendi and Charlie on the day of the hit about a TV repair? Prosecutors argue that's not a normal sibling conversation. That's a status update. A confirmation that everything is going according to plan. 5 people have been convicted. 5 people are serving life sentences. And yet, the one person who had the most to gain from Dan Markel's demise, the person who could move to South Florida, who could keep her children, who could finally escape the custody battle, walks free. Prosecutors call her an unindicted co-conspirator. Legal experts call a matter of time. Because grand juries don't need proof beyond reasonable doubt. They just need probable cause. And the evidence against Wendi Adelson is staggering. Her ex-boyfriend says she admitted knowing about the hit. Her mother's texts say she was protected for years. Her alibi is too polished. Her emotional response is too timed. Her denials too rehearsed. But here's the thing about intelligence. It's a double-edged sword. It helps you plan. It helps you perform. But it also makes you confident. And confidence leads to mistakes. Wendi Adelson has testified in every trial. She's answered every question. And in doing so, she's created a record. A record prosecutors can use if, and many believe when, she's finally charged. Because in cases like this, being the smartest person in the room doesn't mean you get away with it. It just means you're harder to catch. Until you're not. Markel's parents watched 5 convicted for elimination. Donna Adelson got life October 2025. Will they believe Wendi Adelson? Intelligence isn't innocence. Wendi might. Or think so. What prosecutors' bets?